destroy them utterly. And the first among the fallen spoke to them, saying, Then let us test him one more time. It is for man's sake that we were insulted, for his sake that we were driven out, and for his peace that we are mortared under. Let us break the roof of hell with our fists, and murder the seed of Adam. For if God will not rouse himself to save his favourite creature, his sleep is deep, and we may catch him by the hair, and cast him down. And one of the fallen, whose name was Azazel, said, Shall we kill them with fire or with cold? And Lucifer spoke to him, saying, Neither of these. What then? Said the wicked angel. With a great plague, answered Lucifer. And so it was. And the years that had passed since the Lord had come to be born among men were 1,348. 1. Of the donkey. The soldiers found the donkey on Friday. It was lame and its ribs were easy to count. It was too weak to run from them or even to bray at them, but it didn't seem to have the disease. It was just old. It looked at them hopefully from beneath a willow tree, swishing its tail against the flies. The fat one, and nobody knew how he stayed fat, took his warhammer up, meaning to brain it. But Tomas stopped him. He pointed at the barn. It would be smarter to walk it to the barn first, where they could shelter against the coming rain. Godfroy nodded his agreement. The 4 men had been on the road in their rags and rusty armour without a good meal for many weeks, living on spoiled food from houses, watercress and cattail tops from ditches, worms, bugs, acorns, and even a rotten cat. They had all eaten so much grass that they had green piss. The disease was ruthless here. It had killed so many farmers that there was no bread even in this fertile valley. There were not enough hands to swing scythes, nor enough women willing to gather for the threshing, nor any miller to grind, nor bakers to stoke the ovens. The sickness, which they called the Great Death, passed mysteriously but surely from one to the other, as easily as men might clasp hands, or a child might call a friend's name, or 2 women might share a glance. Now none looked at their neighbours, nor spoke to them. It had fallen so heavily upon this part of Normandy that the dead could not be buried. They were piled outside in their dirty long shirts, and they stank in the August sun, and the flies swarmed around them. They lay in weed-choked fields of rye and oats where they had fled in delirium. They lay pitifully in the shadow of the town church, where they had crawled, hoping that last gesture would lessen their time in purgatory, stuck like glued birds to the limestone where they had tried to cool their fevered heads. Some fouled in houses because they were the last, and there was no one to put them out. Those with means had fled. But many times it dogged them, even into the hills, and swamps and manors, and killed them there. The soldiers made a fire in the barn, just near a small creek and a still house. The wood was damp and smoked unpleasantly, besuiting the unchimneyed barn, but soon they were carving meat from the donkey's haunches, running sticks through it, eating it almost raw because they couldn't wait for the fire to do its work, licking their bloody fingers, nodding at each other because their mouths were too full for them to say how good it was. The sun was setting orange beneath a break in pewter clouds that had just begun to spit rain, when the girl poked her head in the barn door. "Hello," she said. All of the men stopped chewing except Tomas. She was a bad age to meet these men, just too old to be safe, and just too young to know why. Her flaxen hair, which might have been pretty if it were not greasy and wet, hung damply on her neck, and her feet were growing before the rest of her, looking too big for her stick-like legs. "Hello," she said again.